Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Blue is the New White podcast. We took a little break there for a second, but we are back now. And today we sit down with a fellow author I met on Twitter, Jeff Putnam, or at @rugged_legacy, sits down today to tell us about his journey through the blue collar trades and how it led him to where he is now, a successful entrepreneur, writer, and amateur boxer. Jeff's journey begins and ends in South Carolina. In high school, he signed up for the automotive vocational program to get out of class, but loved getting his hands dirty, right? He then took the traditional route and studied criminal justice in college, but like many others, chose a different path before graduating. Ultimately, he went from hustling his way into operating heavy equipment to automotive manufacturing to entrepreneurship to author. He published 2 books in a period of 13 months, Emperor Divided and The Perimeter. Highly recommend them. If you haven't checked them out yet, definitely check them out. So tune in today to hear Jeff's success story, right? And how the art of working with his hands helped to shape his character to succeed in business and in life. How does he measure success? Well, that's by the number of things he can say no to. Listen in now to find out what exactly that means. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and on our website at blueisthenewwhite.com to receive all the latest updates. Also visit Jeff's men's grooming site, ruggedlegacy.com, among others that you'll hear at the end of the show, and I'll also put in the comments. As always, this show is not monetized and we don't run ads. We rely strictly on word of mouth from our listeners to further the mission. So if you enjoyed this episode, please take a second to rate it, review it, and share it. The future generations of tradespeople depend on it. They depend on you. So thank you again and enjoy this episode of Blue is the New White podcast with Jeff Putnam. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Blue is the New White podcast. I know I've been a little absent as of late, but I got an awesome guest for us here today. His name is Jeff. Jeff, welcome to the Blue is the New White podcast, man. Super happy to have you on the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. Glad you got the invite over to me.
Nah, man, I'm just really looking forward to it. I know a little bit about your background, just a tiny bit, and I'm excited to get to know the rest and for you to tell our audience exactly how you kind of got to where you are today. So let's jump right into it, man. Why don't you just kind of explain who you are, where you came from, and how you got to where you are today?
Well, as you already said, my name's Jeff Putnam. I grew up right here where I live now in good old the upstate of South Carolina. Currently married, got 9 children, 8 boys, 1 girl, all by the same woman for everyone wondering. Hey, I'm simply irresistible. It is what it is. But right now, the most physical thing I do is beat people up and get beat up. But I started off, in high school working on cars, and we had one of those vocational programs. Then I ended up working as a carpenter for years, heavy equipment operator, did all that, to discovering way later on after a 6-year stint in an automotive manufacturing facility that I'm a good writer. So that's what I do now is I write, and I'm thankful for dictation software because sometimes my hands hurt too bad to type.
Dude, I hear you. I'm right there with you. All right, cool. So, man, 9 kids, bro. That's a lot of kids.
I said I couldn't keep her off me, man.
You weren't kidding, man. Oh man, no, that's great though. That's got to be super rewarding watching them grow up and all the different personalities. I've got two girls, and I can barely keep up with that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, my oldest 2 are grown, living in Texas. I have another grown one who is probably moving back down here. He's currently living in Buffalo, working up there. And then another one who's currently stationed in Florida with the 7th Special Forces Group.
Right on.
And then the rest of them are here at home. The oldest one in the house is 16. The youngest is 7.
Oh, wow.
And the oldest one period is 22.
All right. Wow. That's quite
the big spread. 22 all the way down.
Hell yeah, man. That definitely is. But you know what? Good for you, man. That's that's awesome. What a life you guys must have. You know, that's fucking cool. And you know,
It's never boring.
No, I bet not. And your one boy, you know, make sure you say thank you for his service for me, please. You know,
I will. Thank you.
The utmost respect for anybody in the service. So let's kind of dissect this a little bit, if you don't mind. So back in high school, you said you were working on cars a lot in high school. Where did that come from? You know, what got you interested in it?
My first car, which I kind of still wish I had, was a 1982 Ford LTD. You know, and back, those cars, everything was plug and play, right?
Yeah.
You need a new anything, just unscrew the old one, put the new one on. You didn't have to take out 3 seats and a dashboard to change a tire.
Yeah, that's
like
right.
you do on some of the new stuff now. But no, I just wanted to get out of class. And the way to do that was to spend 2 of the periods in the afternoon at the vocational center. And I had options, I was like, you could do robotics, auto mechanics, electrical, plumbing, welding, a couple of others. And I was, I'll work on cars. I was always that kid that was like reading Jegs magazine.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Wow. Blast from
You're the
past.
only person I know that. Yeah. You remember Jegs magazine.
I do. Holy shit, man. So I was that kid too, right? I had cars. So my first car was a 1992 Mitsubishi Eclipse Eagle Talon, that kind of thing. My first girlfriend drove that into a concrete retainment wall. So that was short-lived.
Nice.
Yeah. And then I got another Eclipse. I was a big Fast and the Furious fan, but I got another Eclipse, and that one accounted for 16 tickets in 12 months for me. So lost the license and eventually that car. So thought my next best bet was to buy a 1986 Mazda B2000 with plastic spinners from Walmart. That is where I hang my hat, bro.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah. I had an 86 Fiat Spider ragtop that was right after the LTD. But the LTD was in better shape. The only thing I needed to do with that was replace the gas tank. The Fiat Spider didn't have a floorboard, so you had to. On either side.
We Fred Flintstoning it down the street, or what?
If you didn't keep your feet up, you would. It was a mess. I don't even remember what I did to cover. I don't think I did cover it for most of it. It's just hold your feet up when you get in. Don't drop anything.
Oh my!
You didn't have to worry about dropping your phone back then. I think the only thing I ever dropped were like, I had one of those little converters, where you could plug your Walkman CD player into the stereo with
120.
tape.
Oh, okay, yeah, the one that went in the tape, and then it had that cord that came out and into the CD player or whatever.
Yeah, and I was thinking about that earlier this week. Just for some reason, they were talking about don't text and drive. I'm like, dude, no one gave a shit when we had that giant portfolio of CDs on the front. In our laps, we're steering with our knees, flipping through the binder full of all those CDs. That was worse than texting.
Oh, way worse. And you got 2 of them in your mouth while you're trying to. Yeah, no, that was it, dude. That's the Bluetooth of our generation. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was great.
Fuck, man, that's funny. All right, so you did this this vocational class in high school, really to get out of class, right? And it was something you were interested in, so that's cool. What did you enjoy most about working on the cars?
I worked with my uncle on, he had a 93 Ford Ranger, and so we worked on that thing anytime something was wrong with it. And I was that kid. It was just, hey, I'm happy to be involved. Let me use that clicky thing when he was changing the spark plugs. Yeah. So, I always enjoyed doing stuff like that. My uncle was an electrician for like 30, 40 years. And then I watched him build this like custom playhouse, treehouse thing with like a pole, like a fireman's pole on it for me in the backyard of his house. I just like working with my hands. I don't know. I growing up in rural South Carolina, that's what you know.
That's
right?
what you do, right? Yeah, absolutely. That's a lost art today, Jeff. I think I just posted a couple days ago on Twitter that it's amazing how many people can't even put the chain back on their kid's bike. You know what I'm saying? It's that's the real epidemic right now is, people just don't have these valuable life skills that, people of our generation were more commonly taught. It's kind of weird.
Yeah. I try to do stuff like that with my kids as much as I can. This past weekend, me and my 15-year-old son, we were out in the yard, building chicken coops, because I just, on a whim, decided to go and buy 10 chickens.
Cool.
Yeah, right. We just built 2 chicken coops, and it's really only 1 chicken coop each, but we just figured a way to engineer them to make one big one for all the chickens that we decided to get.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, and it's little things, man. It's little things like that. Not only is it an awesome bonding experience, I would imagine, for you and your kid, but, it's also teaching them, skills. And this is, look, this people that listen to my show, this is kind of what they know about me, right? And this is what I put in the book is that, this kind of stuff, it teaches things that people don't really understand. Like just building a chicken coop. Sure. No, that's great. But you said you engineered it, 2 of them to act as one. There's problem-solving skills in that, problem-solving abilities, the ability to work with your hands, right? You probably got a couple of knuckle busters in there. You know what I mean? Builds character. These are some important fundamentals of success, whether you go the route of the trades or you don't, man. That's why I believe in this blue-collar work and the trade so much is because, I feel like if we breed a generation of people who are afraid to work with their hands, that civilization is going to look a whole lot different tomorrow. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And I think one of the things that kept getting thrown up to me when I was in high school was, well, everything's going to be robotic. Who the fuck's going to fix the robots?
Thank you.
My last job that I had before I just started working for myself full time was in the automotive manufacturing industry. And mechatronics is a huge part of that. Yeah. Right. And most of it is you're sitting there with this giant tablet and you're just programming in the steps where, the piece is going to pick up the part and shove it on or whatever. But then that thing breaks and you have to know how to work on, something that's run on hydraulics and actuators and things like that. So
that's right. And that takes skills, man. I think I posted about that lately too. Until we can get robots to fix other robots, the skilled trades are safe, dude. Yeah. That's really what it boils down to. It's amazing.
They're still going to be more technical than they used to be, aside from, carpentry and masonry and things like that. But you still got to get in there and get dirty.
Yeah, no, absolutely. In one form or another, and we'll have to have those skills. So in high school, let me ask you, did you go to college?
I did, but I didn't last very long.
No, well, you got farther than me. So, but
I think I went all the way through. I think I'm still to this day 8 credits shy of an associate's degree that I could have gotten back in 2006.
What'd you go to college for?
Criminal justice, and then that wasn't going to work out. Yeah,
criminal justice.
It sounded cool.
Always does, man.
Yeah, and then turns out I failed algebra 3 times in high school for a reason. So the advanced shit that we were doing in college wasn't going to work out. Yes. Look, I never claimed to be that academically advanced, but, I built a brand new kitchen for my wife because I was a carpenter for a general contractor for years. And I don't know, there's just something about working with your hands that I've always liked. That's the way it's always been. And I remember, bonding with my uncle. My dad died in like 92. He's been gone like 30 years now. So I never worked on anything with him. It was my mom's brother that handled it all. And, just if you and I went to go do anything, we probably wouldn't say a friggin' word unless we were building something.
That's right.
If you and I go on a fishing trip, we're probably going to say 3 words to each other, and it'll be the best time we ever had in our lives.
Fucking awesome.
Yeah. But hey, look, while we're here on this fishing trip, let's dam the lake. Let's build a small reservoir over here and cut out a tributary to give our camp a temporary water supply in a stream. Well, yeah, we're going to have conversations that go deeper than anything you'd get in a psychology class. It's how men bond. We bond by doing something or breaking something or building something.
Or breaking something to rebuild it, Yeah,
too.
But you're absolutely right. There's a book out there called, I think it's called Shop Class for Soulcraft. And it kind of goes into that, right? How there's a lost philosophy in craftsmanship, right? And stuff like that. It's very interesting book, but it kind of touches on that. And to the college thing, right? I'm a huge, I don't know if you've probably seen some of my stuff, but I'm not a big believer in the college system these days. For certain things, of course. For certain things, absolutely. You have to have a college degree to be a doctor, to be a lawyer, to be an accountant.
I would say anything with medicine, engineering, or law. Yeah, go to college. Everything else is on YouTube.
That's it, man. That is the truth of today, and that's serious. I mean, these books here on this shelf. This is how I learned everything. I was very vocal about not going to college, and I didn't go to college. And so that's why I'm such a big advocate and passionate about the trades, because teaching those fundamentals of success, I think it's important. But the biggest thing is I hate to see so many young people these days, and I'm sure you've probably had conversations like this with your kids. I don't know, but I hate to see so many people not get the ROI from college. The cost is one thing, right? It's expensive as all hell, and we know that. But if you can get a return on that, great. I just see so many people these days digging themselves a hole of debt and not able to get out, and it's fucking sad, man.
Yeah, I tell my kids, if you go to college, I make really good money now. It's working for me. But when I wasn't making money, and my position hasn't changed on this just because, I live very comfortably now. But if you go to college, you're either going to pay for it out of your own pocket, or you've got a scholarship, because daddy ain't paying for that. Right. Not because daddy didn't want to, it's because daddy couldn't.
Yeah.
Right. We were living paycheck to paycheck for a long time.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of how it works when you have a big family.
Yeah.
But for the record, we didn't ever have 9 at once. They were always one moving out as another one was coming in.
That's the secret, huh, Jeff? You wait for one to leave the nest, then you work on the others.
Yeah. Oh, he's leaving soon. Let me go ahead and knock her up.
Yeah. Right. Oh, that's funny.
But no, I want my kids to go to college if it's for something that's going to benefit them. I don't want my kid to go to school and get $300,000 in debt for a $48,000 a year job.
Right. Working at Starbucks or for the sole reason to party for 4 years, which does sound
like my wife's sister, both of my wife's sisters, actually, each of them has like 4 or 5 degrees. Neither one of them have ever worked in a field related to their degrees.
Yeah.
Like one of them's getting ready to go to real estate school, and one of them works at a car dealership.
See, so
no. She works for like doing solar panels.
Okay.
But she's got a psychology degree.
So please, somebody explain this to me, right? Like, that's what I have a problem with, right? It's so mainstream and it's shoved down our throats that this is the way that it's supposed to be, and this is the only way to succeed, right, is to go to college. That's what we're taught. That's what I was taught in high school. That's why my counselors really hated it when I told them, hey, I'm not going to college. Well, you're throwing your life away. Really? Well, because, the last time I checked, I run a pretty successful company with 4 branches in 3 states. And, we just broke 8 figures this year. So you can take your college and you can kind of go fuck yourself, respectfully, of course. I just, but again, it's about the ROI. If my kids came to me and they said, hey, I want to go to college, I'm not going to say, you better not go to college. I'm going to say, let's talk about it. Is it necessary? Because if it is,
what are you going
awesome.
for?
Exactly. Right. I want you to be happy. I want you
I'll pay for mine to go to community college and get some certificates. It's going to have them coming out of the gate making $75 an hour. Let's do this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. I'll pay for the whole course.
That's right. So anyway, sorry, I get a little worked up on that. Let's backtrack a little bit. So you didn't finish college. You went for criminal justice, which apparently mathematics is super important in criminal justice. So
no. I think that was just in the the general courses that weren't field related.
Yeah, don't get me started about that, okay?
Yes.
General courses when you're going for a specialty profession.
Well, you remember they used to tell us you're not going to walk around with a calculator in your pocket all day, but now you've got
yeah, right.
I got every answer I could ever fucking want right there.
Not only do I have a calculator in my pocket, I have a brain more powerful than a
supercomputer.
A supercomputer in my pocket. Yeah. So anyway, back to your point, right? About you can probably find it on YouTube. Not only can you find it on YouTube, you can find it on YouTube while you're actually doing the work. Anyway. Yeah. So you said then you were a heavy equipment mechanic as well.
No. Heavy equipment operator.
Operator.
Yeah, I discovered when I was lying my way into a job at a recycling center that I can drive anything.
Nice.
I've taken off in planes and helicopters. I've never landed one. I give that to the guy with the license. But I figured out I can pretty much drive anything. And not everything, not all of them have wheels. But I was lying to get a job because I needed it at a recycling center as a forklift driver. And at the interview, hey, have you ever driven a forklift? Oh, yeah. I drove them every summer at my uncle's warehouse. And that uncle was completely made up as much as his warehouse was. But okay, cool. When can you start? I can start right now, boss. And he's like, all right, you're hired. All right.
Wow.
Did the texting my wife with the old Alltel cell phones.
Yes.
Yeah. Tapping 3 letters to get to the one you wanted. Hey, I'm hired, starting now. Love you. Bye. Hopped on that forklift, make sure nobody was looking, and just kind of figured out what all the handles did.
That's awesome.
But since that worked for me, when I figured I would just use that strategy for every single job I ever got, and that worked for me, was just lying out of my ass to get hired. I got placed as a crew leader for a general contractor based out of San Antonio. And hey, have you ever driven a backhoe? Yeah. Uncle had a farm. Same uncle that had a warehouse, right?
Yeah, there you go. That's the one. Oh,
yeah,
man.
that one.
That's awesome.
So I just hop on whatever piece of equipment I could and figure it out as I went. Are you certified? Yeah, I'm certified. Show me your license. I'm busy right now. We got to get this job done before the subs leave, and just leave me alone.
Oh man,
so there's probably a lot of shit that was built in West Texas and in Arizona that is not OSHA compliant, at least in the process
wonderful.
of building it.
I'm in Arizona, bro. So you're telling me I got to be careful.
Every single one of your Albertsons in Phoenix, in Chandler, nice. In Mesa, Scottsdale, Tempe, all of those. I did I'm the one that put in all of their pharmacies.
Oh, no shit.
When they didn't have pharmacies, especially my favorite one to work at was the one over there by the Ferrari dealership in Scottsdale off of Thomas.
Yeah. I know exactly where that is. That's funny.
Yeah. That was my favorite one to work at.
Why? Because you could just look at the Ferraris all day?
No, because the manager there was actually not a dick, and he didn't mind us because we had to work at night when the store was closed. He didn't mind us staging our tools throughout the store before they were closed. Other places were like, no, you have to wait till the doors are locked. You know, that dumb shit.
Yeah. We run into that shit too all the time. You know, everybody that knows me knows what industry I'm in, and it's a lot of the same shit too. You know, funny, quick side story too. You had mentioned Altel Wireless, and most of my listeners and my readers, they know that, you know, before I got into the trades, I was a stunt man, right? I was in the stunt business. That's what I grew up doing.
I didn't know that, but that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so I was a stunt man. My dad was a stunt man. My mom was a stunt woman. My grandfather was like one of the pioneers in the industry. Anyway, I had done a commercial for Altel back in my California, Hollywood days, and it was so my listeners, I don't think have heard this story before, but it was a very specific commercial where, you know, they had the three guys. They had like the Verizon guy, they had the AT&T guy, the T-Mobile guy, and there was they were standing on the sidelines, right? And the T-Mobile guy. Or no, it was the AT&T guy. He threw his hands up and he goes, "Man, how could this day get any worse?" And then right then and there, he gets pummeled by a football player, right? And this is actually, I tell this story because this is what made me get out of the stunt industry, right? And so the guy that got pummeled by that football player was me, right? And this guy that pummeled me was in full gear, full pads. I mean, he was probably 6'5", 260, something like that. And I'm little old me, right? You know, and no pads. He's hitting me because I know how to fall. I've been doing that my entire life. We did that take like 17 times. I got hit, bro.
Jesus.
Like 17 times. They used the first take. They used the very first take. So I got hit 16 times in vain, could barely walk the next day. And then I was like, you know what? I should learn a fucking trade. This is bullshit, you know, but I wanted to tell that story because when you said Altel, it reminded me of that commercial. A lot of people know it. It was playing for a long, long time. I'm still getting residuals off that commercial.
Hey, you gotta love it, man. But no, that's like no matter what happens, you know, if shit falls apart, if you know how to fix it, you're cool, right?
That's it.
You know, I can fix anything that goes wrong on any of my cars outside of, you know, if a computer goes bad or something.
Yeah.
But any mechanical piece, I can figure it out because I've done it forever. Yeah. You know, my wife wanted a new kitchen. I could have just hired it out, but instead of spending 30 grand to have someone come and do it, I spent 12 and just did it myself.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh, cool.
And there's value in that. And then there's also pride, right? Because then you can step back and you say, hey, I fucking did that. Not, hey, I paid somebody to do that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I pay people to do shit I don't want to do all the time. That's the whole point of being an entrepreneur.
Of course.
Like, I have a gardener.
Yep.
You know? I have a gardener because I hate doing that shit.
Fair point. You know, but
yeah.
You know, there's a difference between stepping back from a garden and saying I did that and stepping back from a kitchen and saying I did that. I'd rather step back personally, I'd rather step back from a kitchen and be like, hey, I did that. You know what I'm saying? Not, hey, those flowers are really pretty. I did that all by myself.
I'll continue to pay this guy to cut my grass until the day we're both dead.
Yeah.
You know,
I agree 100%. I do too. Yeah.
Like I'm not cutting my own grass.
I don't blame you. You got land.
I wouldn't. I mean, you know, decent sized lot here. The house I live in, you know, here was built in 1941.
Oh wow!
And it was built in an old mill town. Like the name of the town is so insignificant. The name of the town is the same name as the mill because they only built the houses to support the mill workers.
That's
right?
Cool.
Yeah. And so it's like, oh, yeah, nothing is here. 800 people live here. I like it.
Nice. That sounds peaceful, especially when I live in Phoenix. So concrete jungle out here, man. It's a whole different vibe. I grew up in Kenosha, Wisconsin, though, so I'm no stranger to the farm. But all right, cool. So explain to me then, your transition away from the blue collar work and getting into writing. How did that transition happen?
Well, I ended up working, making seats for BMW. That's my automotive manufacturing experience. I did that for 6 years, and it is grueling. You would think on a production line in a place that is making the quote unquote ultimate driving machine, it would be a little easier or a little more advanced where it wasn't so physically demanding. But, I'm pulling and stretching leather over cushions and crap all day. And then I moved up to a managerial position. I ran two entire production lines as the head of their quality department. And then I stepped back down because political bullshit. And I'm like, okay, I'm definitely not meant for office work with other humans. Well, that's not going to work. Went back out to the line. And I think one day I was just working on the shipping dock. And there's these two dudes that were walking by. You could, both of them were wearing little wrist support braces. Both of them were wearing knee braces on each knee. And they're talking about, oh man, I can't believe we both started together. And here we are getting ready to retire after 35 years. I can't fucking be here for 29 more years. Yeah. In a fucking way, I'm starting to get carpal tunnel and shit. I've still got it sometimes where just holding on to the steering wheel, my hand goes numb. I'm switch hands.
Yep.
I mean, it could be from, punching people now, but it was happening prior to punching people.
Yeah.
But I can't do this shit anymore. And so let me start a business. So I ended up starting an e-com business, right? And that went for, I don't know, about a year before I said, okay, this is pretty much self-sustainable now. I don't have to do anything. I mean, I kept, my 9 to 5 up until 2020 in the middle of the whole COVID thing, where they came around and did the whole, well, everybody's going to start wearing a mask. I can compromise and I can wear a mask. And then they said, but you're also going to have to cut off all these fans because we don't want to blow the virus around. I'm like, okay, well, you guys are fucking morons. That's not how it works. But I'm like, either the fan stays on or the mask stays off. It's 115 degrees in this fucking plant. I'm not going to do it.
Yep.
And I didn't like the tone in which they said, we can make you do it. Here's my badge, buddy. You can't make me do shit. I'm like, here's my badge. I'm not coming back. Because I was already making money e-com on the side and a couple little side hustle stuff going on. And so I came home that day and told my wife, said, yeah, pretty sure I lost my job. Because I don't have my badge. I gave it to them. So I think that either they took it as I quit or they just turned around and fired me after I gave them my badge. I don't know what they fucking did,
Yeah.
But from that point, I was like, I'm never going back. So I just doubled down into the writing aspect. Because what was funny is when I started the e-com business is I'm using Google and YouTube as the tool, right, on how to do it. And everything is like, oh, you need written content. I guess I need to learn how to write. Learn how to write content. And, every business needs a blog because a blog creates traffic. And, if your article is dialed in with its SEO and all this other, I don't know what the fuck SEO is. So I need to figure this out. So I started writing blogs and shit. And then people were like, dude, you're a really good writer. Like, really? Yeah. Okay. So I put together a couple of information courses and stuff, little info products, teaching people how to do e-com stuff and then, side hustle and personal brand things. Because I had built like an insane following on Twitter, just tweeting about the shit that I was building with the e-com store, right? I think in like 8 months, I had, I don't know, close to like 5,000 followers. It was like wild. I was like, okay, cool. People give a shit what I'm saying. This is awesome. Yeah. And I just went from there, and the writing part, I just really enjoyed it. You know, like I sat down in 2021 and I wrote 2 books and published them both in between January 1st and June 24th. So wrote and published 2 books in like a little less than 7 months.
Yeah, then that's impressive in itself. And you know, the fact that you can even sit down and do that tells me that you got to enjoy writing, right? And I got to tell you this, you know, I didn't tell you this in our first meeting, you know, but so I haven't read both the books. I've read one, right? Emperor Divided. I've read that one, and your writing is not, because you're self-published, right? Are you self-published?
Yeah.
Yeah. Usually, I
still hit number 1 on Amazon, which is pretty cool.
Dude, that is awesome, and I'll tell you why. Because most of the self-published books that I read, and you know, I don't really care if I offend anybody, but their information's good, but they're not written great. Yours, it felt different. You're a phenomenal fucking writer, you know. And
thank you.
Yeah, no, and I just call it as I see it, right? I pride myself on writing as well, but I you know, I love to read, and there's very few books out there that can captivate my attention the way that yours did, which is ultimately why I ended up reaching out to you. But no, you can tell the passion for what you do, what you say, and how you say it comes out in your writing. So for those,
I appreciate that. What's funny is Empire Divided, as it sits today, is still full of fucking typos. You know, look, I edited it. I sent it to an editor. We all did it, and there's still shit in there that's all fucked up. I don't care.
Yeah.
You know,
no, and I noticed that.
You know
too,
what I meant,
but it's
like,
not.
You know what I meant to say. I don't give a shit.
Oh yeah, well that's just it, right? Is because you know, I don't give a shit about the grammar stuff, right, or the spelling stuff. I give a shit about what it feels like when you read it. You know, that's the only thing that matters in a piece of writing. I'm not, you know, I don't like that whole. When I write to make people feel something. I don't write for the vanity portion of it, right? Well, hey, you should use a semicolon here instead of a comma, or a period here. Make sure there's 2 spaces, or is it just 1? I don't know. I don't give a fuck. You know, it's it's how does it make you feel, and that's what jumped out in your book is how it was written. You could feel the words. So.
Yeah, I wrote Empire Divided in 35 days, and I wrote it with this. I wrote it with this white hot intensity, because it was like you read it, right? So it's like every page I was angry as I wrote it.
Yeah.
But I wanted to be eloquent, angry, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like Alexander Solzhenitsyn with the Gulag Archipelago. Everything, every single word, every single page just reeked of righteous indignation. Right.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of the energy that I wrote it with.
Well, it suits you.
I wrote it insane too, because I was like, all right, it's 20 degrees outside here in upstate South Carolina in the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains. I'm going to write every morning when I get back from the gym, and I'm not going to stop writing until I get 1,000 words. So 1,000 words per day, you know, and some days I'd go way over 1,000. Some days it was like trying to drive a needle up a nun's ass with a sledgehammer just to get 800 words, you know.
That's funny.
But eventually I got it written.
No, you did, and you did a hell of a job. So I'm going to ask you a question now that I don't know if anyone has asked you, but you know, now that I know your history a little bit, right? Working on cars in high school, heavy equipment operator, auto manufacturing, you know, you've worked with your hands a lot, which I imagine has taught you a lot of life lessons along the way. So, you know, looking to your recent past, right? Your entrepreneurship, your writing, these things that that you're just excelling at, and that you seem like you're passionate about. What did you learn from back then working with your hands that you applied to what you're doing today?
I think most of it would be what stupid people would call toxic masculinity. Because I mean, when I worked in the construction industry, if you had a problem with a guy, you walk out behind the Connex and you settle it, right? You don't call the boss, you don't file complaints. Or, in high school, boys are going to fight other boys, right? I mean, I've got 8 of them, and I'm surprised they're all still alive with all of the fighting that they've done, whether it's with each other or other boys. But a lot of it was just, man, don't be a little bitch. You can't cry because, you busted your knuckle trying to break a bolt, or it's hot out here in the desert when you're trying to build something. You don't do that because there's other dudes that you'll immediately become a victim. Right. And people could go, oh, that's such a terrible. No, it's great because it makes you realize you're not fucking made of glass. Right. You can take it, you can suck it up. So all the shit that I've had to build on my own, and not just in a literal sense, but even in a metaphorical sense, all the shit that I've had to build, my life, there's a lot of times that I could have just said, fuck this, it's too hard.
Yeah.
I'm way too uncomfortable to keep going. But I don't know, you just suck shit up. I did a short stint. I did a short stint in the Army. I was an infantryman, and anybody that knows anything about 11 Bravos, it's you're basically, until shit hits the fan, you're a glorified janitor, so everything sucks, right? But at the same time, you're expected to just be a hard ass dude who can drink his ass off until 4 a.m, go to formation at 5, still run 3 miles, throw up shit on yourself, and then be expected to destroy another human in combat if needed be.
Right.
I grew up in a place where working with your hands or working with where we're not working with your hands and being a soft ass dude wasn't going to cut it. Right. And you're not going to pick on the guy who is soft if you know that guy, but that guy's a target for others, and it was just, you got to be fucking tough, man. It's the era that we grew up in. Because we grew up before the fucking internet was a thing, right? Before, what was the old joke? Before Al Gore invented the internet.
Yeah. I still remember a time before the internet.
Yeah, I do too. I remember the first time, I remember stealing all of the 7-day trials for AOL and making a different
How about Net Zero, man? I got that Net Zero shit on lock.
Oh yeah. Yeah, but the 7-day AOL free trial discs that you would get at the grocery store. Yeah, and I'd accumulate like 14 of them. Yeah. Oh yeah, man. Every week you'd have to get a new email address.
Yeah.
But we grew up in that where, we fought other kids because we're building ramps and, running around in the woods and jumping our bikes off of other people's cars, riding on the hood of people's cars, just dumb shit that would probably, get us thrown into a mental institution today.
Yeah. But people would have problems.
You were, I mean, you weren't soft back then, man. It's because you were expected to be able to take it and still produce.
I would say mental and physical toughness, right? I mean, if we got to boil it down to something, mental and physical toughness, working with your hands really does build those skills, and I think it's applicable, especially in entrepreneurship, right? Like, you can't be weak. You cannot throw your arms up after you fail and say this is never going to work. You have to be unfazed by it. It has to piss you off to the point where you want to do better and better and better until you succeed. And I think, we talk about lost arts. That's kind of a lost art. You know what I mean? People are
but it becomes a point of pride to know that you can still do it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I felt really good to remodel, my own kitchen and, fix my kid's car and all this. It feels good to be able to do that and show that you can handle situations like that. And then the other part is, the physical mental toughness. I don't know if I'm just crazy, but I'm one of those people that have self-selected to get punched in the face.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was getting punched in the face and punching other people in the face 10 minutes before the call started.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's absolutely no reason for me to be an amateur boxer right now. I've lived, I've done a lot, and I think I'm good, but I just need that other challenge, right?
Yeah. That's it too, right? The challenge. I think,
well, you mentioned about that book, about the blue collar trades being good for the soul and all that. It's the same thing as this. I eat, drink, sleep, breathe boxing. When I'm not working, I train 5 days a week. I fight someone every single week.
Yeah.
Just trying to get round numbers up. But it feels good, just like in here, to do it, right? Even though I'm pretty sure this tooth is loose right now. But, it's just something about it. And working with your hands gives you that same satisfaction.
It does. It's the challenge, right? It's I can do this, I can overcome this, and I can be the best at this, or I can be really damn good, So I'm right there with you, man. I think that's great. So we're gonna move to wrap this up soon. I got one more question for you that I like to ask everybody.
Sure.
So, one of my biggest things is kind of along the same lines that we've been talking this whole time, right? Is that success looks a little bit different for everybody, right? And a lot of times, even inadvertently, learning a trade can help you live whatever definition of success you have in your head, right? So I like to ask my guests, for you, Jeff, how do you define success? Grand scheme, overall, what does success look like to you?
I think, to me, success is measured by the amount of things you can say no to.
Oh, that's new. I've got a lot. I've had 116 people on this show. You gotta explain this one to me.
Hey, I need you to do this work for me tomorrow. No. Hey, I need you to be here at this time tomorrow. No. Hey, you need to do this. No. I don't, because the only person I report to is me. Like, I've fired clients that have been too demanding, right?
Yeah.
Because I have a couple of clients, that I handle a lot of their PR and their press releases and some more of their written content. And I continue to work with them because they're reasonable. I've fired people that want me to bend. So I think success is measured by the amount of things you can say no to if you don't want to fucking do it.
That's an awesome answer. I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah. Like, if I don't want to fucking do it, I'm not doing it.
There's a lot of truth to that, right? I mean, that's freedom.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
You spend your entire life. I pissed off a lot of people with a tweet that I sent out the other day.
No, not you.
Oh, yeah, right. What would I possibly say? No, it was along the lines of, you have to ask another man's permission to either eat, shit, or talk to your family for 8 hours a day. Yeah, welcome to 9 to 5. And obviously, there's still the retards out there, and I'll say that word. People get pissed off. Fuck them, I don't care. I know that want to go, well, not every job. Well, no shit, moron. It's a nuanced principle. Just relax.
Yeah.
You know,
take a breath.
But that's what it is. I spent my entire adult life reporting to someone else. And so not having to do a fucking thing I don't want to is how I define my success.
That's awesome. That is awesome. All right. Well, with that, I think that's a perfect conclusion. So before we wrap it up and say our thank yous, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter. My @name is rugged_legacy. That is also the name of my e-com store, which has beard balms, beard oils, conditioners, shampoos, lotions, hair oils, body scrubs for women, bunch of shit that I started because I had this massive beard like down to my chest for a long time and really long hair. The only reason to shave now is because, I'm fighting. But that's Rugged Legacy Grooming Supply. You can find that online. Order some shit. I prefer that if you order some shit. You can find me, jeffputnamauthor.com. You can find both of my books there. I used to have a podcast. I don't even fucking know if that link still works because I don't anymore. I'm just busy.
I hear you.
But I mean, I am one of the least formal and official kind of people you'll ever encounter. I like being down to earth and real with people. So you want to follow me on Instagram, it's @rugged_legacy or just Rugged Legacy. I don't know. Rugged Legacy, you'll find me on Twitter. Or you'll find the official one and then you can follow me from there. Right. But yeah, that's pretty much where you'll find me unless I'm downtown getting beat up.
Right on. Is there anything else you want to add, Jeff, before we say our goodbyes?
Yeah, one thing.
Yeah.
People tend to laugh at the idea of working with your hands. But I was in downtown Charlotte not too long ago. And because, Charlotte's only like 80 miles away. And there was these young guys. They were probably 22 to 27, somewhere in there. And they're wearing their JCPenney suits and shit, and they're down there at this food truck talking shit about, oh, yeah, I'm making, 80, 90 grand a year. And then they're talking about how much they spent on their fucking business degrees and shit. Meanwhile, food truck guy over here, the Nathan's hot dog truck, spent 30 grand on that fucking food truck. He's making, with his location, a little over 150 grand a year. And he sets his own fucking hours. So he went into a whole lot less debt and has a whole lot more freedom than the pricks that were up there in the corner offices. And like I said, they're little JCPenney suits. So people underestimate how lucrative the trades can be.
Yeah.
But even if you don't want to do it for a living, it's an awesome skill to have, whether it could be, hey, I can fix my own shit. I can build something for myself or for my kid. You just learn how to do something with your hands and experience the satisfaction of doing that if you haven't before. I mean, I didn't start boxing till I was fucking 35 and I've already fought an Olympian. So if it's not too late for me to do that, it's not too late for, you guys to learn how to, plane a damn door or build a set of cabinets or something, man.
That's absolutely right, man. That's absolutely right. Couldn't have said it better myself. Well, Jeff, dude, I can't thank you enough for spending the time with me today. I know you're a busy dude. So thanks again, man, for coming on the show. I really appreciate it.
Of course, brother. Had fun.